former general who once lived in exile has been elected president of Lebanon. Parliament voted for Michel Aoun, a Christian, bringing to an end over 2 years of political deadlock this Monday. Iran's supreme leader has welcomed the appointment via his spokesman.
The end of a political stalemate of more than 2 years met with a thunderous applause. On Monday, it was the long-awaited election of a president that marked the shift for Lebanon. This, after some 40 attempts by a deeply fractured parliament to appoint a leader. And the new face of the Middle Eastern nation is Michel Aoun, a former army chief and ex-prime minister. In one of his first remarks on the top post, the 81-year-old made a reference to the conflict next door.
Lebanon has so far been spared the fires burning across the region, and it remains a priority to prevent any sparks from reaching Lebanon.
The country's lawmakers presented a face of unity on Monday, celebrating Aoun's victory.
Lebanon has proved its vitality, diversity and democracy in the middle of this torn Arab world.
This is the beginning of a new period, and God willing, our politicians will be up to the job and make Lebanon's dreams a reality.
According to analysts, the election will not be a magic wand for Lebanon. With a Hezbollah-backed politician now at the helm of the country, some fear divisions over Syria's 5-year conflict will only deepen.
Well, joining me to talk more about Lebanon is Adib Farah, a former advisor to the Lebanese Prime Minister Fouad Siniora. He's now at the Lebanese Information Center in the United States. Thanks for being with us on France 24. Now, Michel Aoun's victory has been described as a victory for Hezbollah. Is that true? And how might that play out on the ground? Could we, for example, see fresh confrontations with Israel?
It is more of a victory, actually, for Lebanon and for the unity of Lebanon. It's a victory primarily to the Christians who have been felt very marginalized since the Taif Agreement. This is only the third time in Lebanon's history that the Lebanese elected president who has the support of the vast majority of his constituents. The first was Camille Chamoun in the 50s. The second one, Bashir Gemayel, but he didn't have a chance to take the oath of office because he was assassinated. And now we have Michel Aoun, who in alliance with the Lebanese forces represents the vast majority of the Christians. That's significant.
He did reach an agreement with the Shiite militia Hezbollah, didn't he, around 9 years ago. And today we heard from Iran's supreme leader saying that this was a victory for Hezbollah. What do you make of that? Is Iran going to have a stronger hand now in Lebanese affairs?
Well, Hezbollah is very clever at turning defeats into victories. We've seen what happened in 2006. At any rate, definitely Iran has more influence in Lebanon than any other regional power, and even Saudi Arabia has accepted to be relegated into a secondary position. However, going back to President Aoun, President Aoun was anti-Syria when he was in exile. That's why he went into exile, because they kicked him out of the presidential palace. And then he made a deal with the Syrians and came back to Lebanon with the deal that he struck with the Syrians. He was against Hezbollah, and he was a leader. He contributed a lot to the passing of UN Security Council Resolution 1559, which called for the ouster of the Syrians and the demilitarization of Hezbollah. And then he entered into a pact with Hezbollah. More recently, in the past year, he entered into a pact with the Lebanese forces, in which he effectively adopted all the principles of March 14 that stressed Lebanese sovereignty, independence, the importance of building a central state. Mr. Aoun is to be admired for his patience and perseverance, but he is known to have oscillated on his political views. He is on one side one day, he's on the other side another day. So only time will tell whether he will uphold the most recent agreement he reached, the one with Samir Jaja of the Lebanese forces, or he will hold on more to the agreement he had reached before with Hezbollah, which most people presumed that he had forged that agreement to become the president. So the question to be seen is, now that he's the president, is he going to be on the side of Hezbollah? Well, it didn't sound like it, in the speech he gave at Parliament after being sworn in. He made a lot of references to strengthening the central government, to federalizing the government, to national unity. He made a reference to Article 8 of the Arab League's charter, which calls for
right. But he didn't. Sorry to interrupt you. He didn't talk about Hezbollah, an armed militia inside Lebanon, which wields great power, and he didn't talk about Lebanon's position towards Syria. Do you think we might have some more clarification as time goes on?
Well, as I tried to allude very diplomatically, Mr. Aoun oscillates a lot. He is almost the Donald Trump of Lebanon. He's on
He's
this
a flip-flopper.
Well, I have respect for the guy's patience and for his history before he came back from exile. So I don't want to be insulting, and we're at a stage in Lebanon where we want to reach national unity, and the last thing I want to do is to contribute to disunity. I mean, the Lebanese are divided enough as it is. So I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt. Judging by his speech today in front of Parliament, that sounds extremely encouraging. Only time will see if he will uphold it.
Okay, Adib Farah, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.